11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our weekly wrap-up, our Friday edition of our Daily Gun Show, where we take a look at what happened this week, mostly focused on the YouTubes, but essentially everything I've been paying attention to out there. This has been an interesting week for sure. A lot of stuff happened right at the end of the week. If I can get my computer to cooperate with me, we will get the video off of the co-host here and over onto the show. Cooperate with me. Now, today, I have not yet posted the stuff we're going to be talking about anywhere besides here. What did the co-host has found? Some kind of a piece of nugget or something in his bed there, and he's freaking out trying to find it. So there we go. We can put the puppy co-host cam at the bottom, and we'll take a look at what we're talking about here. So normally I would take the description of this video and I would post it on a couple of different places out there on the web, and that's sort of the point of what we do here. So we take a look at what's been going on. We focus on what's going on according what's focused on. We watch the things that have a focus on the Second Amendment each week. We list them, and then we post that around the internet. The goal is just to do some legwork. It's just to get some links out there to help out some of these projects and these people and these events and things that happen throughout the year. And normally I would be all set up ahead of time. Sometimes I'm set up ahead of time, but Gizzard had me over on his show. So I'm a little bit behind the curve here right now. All right, so I think we've got everything up here. Welcome to Hillbilly Up, joining us tonight. We go live when we do this, even though we do it at midnight Eastern. One, I enjoy the interactive nature of the internet. That's the whole point of the internet. We're not watching the internet like the old TV. We're not just reading the internet, right? We are part of the internet, and these live shows let us participate in the stuff, the content as it's created. So that's good. I like doing it in the middle of the night because nobody's here to bug us. There's fewer people competing for these slots. But this is when all the stuff gets done. This is when things are reset. This is when things are cleaned. This is when stuff is delivered. This is when the real work that gets taken for granted gets done pretty much all the time. And I've been a night shift person a lot of my life. So I'd rather do my show live in the middle of the night when the people that are getting stuff done are awake and doing their thing. Now, it turns out most of the people listen to this show as a podcast. I understand that. They're listening to it while driving or doing a shift or something, listening to it with as a podcast. That's fine, but we do appreciate the people that join us live. You get to take part in a different way, in a special way. So thanks for being here. And might just be us and Hillbilly Up tonight. So special show just for you. So today is episode 1665. I guess you could say this is the start of our, what is it? I guess I did have it. The thumbnail for this show is a little bit different because we are starting our, is it our 9th season also? I think Gizzard said he's starting his 9th season, right? So if I can get my thing to show up here. I probably should have also put out a poll, but if nobody's going to show up tonight, there's no point in putting up a poll. Normally we would put up a poll over here, though. While I'm waiting for that, I might as well. I'm just sitting here with dead air. We'll start a quick poll. How was this week for 2A? Actually, it's a pretty interesting week this week, so Is it a great week for 2A? Oh, what happened there? Whoa, did my computer glitch or what's going on? Where's my mouse? There it is. And then we can highlight, copy that. Was it a good week for 2A? Wow, my computer is really lagging. Okay week for 2A or bad week for 2A? Wow, that's really weird. I don't know why my computer's acting. I might have a bad internet connection, maybe. I should have probably restarted. All right. But while that was happening, yeah, I was able to bring it up. And if we look at the thumbnail for today's show, this is season 9 of this show also. So I don't know how Gizzard is on season 9, if we're on season 9, but whatever. We're on season 9. So is Gizzard on season 9? Or am I just remembering it wrong? But anyway, I changed the thumbnail a little bit. I think I'm going to leave it this way. I've definitely been enjoying the coffee as of late. Thank you, Mr. Coffee. And the goal, though, is to do on the weekly wrap up, is to take a look at what's been going on and post that information all around the internet. I mentioned that for a couple of reasons, so that you know why we do this, but also normally I would put it over on Substack, and Substack looks so much better than YouTube. It's crazy. Let's go over and take a look. This is something we just posted over on Substack earlier today, and you can see, we can add pictures, we can format it, there's like bullet points, and it's just much easier to read through it and really get the information across over on a place like Substack. So that's normally what we'd be looking at this evening. And I apologize because I didn't have time to do all that yet. I'll try to do it later on. Or, that's the kind of thing I do during Gizzard's show, but I was on Gizzard's show. So whatever the next show is that I'm watching, I'll try to get that accomplished. But until then, we will... wow, my internet is just poor this evening. Am I breaking up? May have to kill the puppy cam. So we do this, as I mentioned, we post it on a lot of places, some of those being our Patreon. Did I already mention on this show that our Patreons make it possible for us to take time and make projects like this? They keep our servers online for our websites and give us the power to do stuff, like get these different Second Amendment initiatives going and maintained. So we do appreciate the people that subscribe what we do, either over on Patreon or over here on YouTube. Let's see, we've got the newsletter. So occasionally, I'd say less often than not. Is that a thing? I'll post this information in a newsletter just because it's cumbersome. If I can find a better newsletter system, I'll change that because I really do like the newsletter concept. Then we got Substack I just mentioned. We also post stuff on Instagram. But there's things that I don't list here because, again, YouTube formatting would make it a huge list and it would just be lame to put that at the beginning of every show. But we post this often to Minds and to Locals, to MeWe, and to a couple other of the newer platforms that are out there. And we're broadcasting. Oh, I forgot to do it. We're going to start broadcasting over to X. We're now broadcasting over to X, and we'll be broadcasting over to Rumble as soon as I can figure out how to do it. So we're going to talk about a couple of things tonight. Our typical format would be to kind of stumble into the awkward introduction to the show like we just did here, explain what we do and why we're doing it. Then we talk about this Second Amendment news of the week, stuff that matters. At the beginning of the show here. Then we talk about the stuff that I've watched throughout the week that's focused on the stuff that matters. Then we get into guns, and this is a gun show after all. And we'll talk about the gun stuff, the stuff that's just more focused on our firearms and that kind of thing. Then we'll talk about some radio shows that happen that are focused on our Second Amendment. things from the calendar. It's Every Second Matters at the beginning of each month, so we'll mention that. There's some military interview shows that I like, so let's mention those, and then we'll wrap up the show with all the stuff that we did throughout the week. All right, so digging into... Well, I went all the way to the top. There's nobody really watching tonight, so I don't know. I guess because I started late, or everybody's interested in... Oh, nobody probably wants to hear what I got to say about Wayne. Everybody wants to, get paid by Bloomberg and watch the NRA burn. Or, sorry, they don't get paid. They just watch the NRA burn. So let's get into the news of the week. CZ bought S&B. That used to be big news. Everybody was getting all upset about it, getting kind of worried. But then, what happened? Wayne LaPierre retired from the NRA. Well, he said he's gonna at the end of the month. And did that satisfy a bunch of people that said, well, I'd maybe like the NRA, or no, they didn't say maybe. They say, I'd like the NRA if Wayne LaPierre left. I guess there was people that said, I'd maybe like the NRA if he left. But anyway, so we've seen what happens when that happens, when Wayne LaPierre now said that he's retiring. It didn't take very long for that to spread very quickly around. Now, this has happened in, about 20, let's say about 15, 18, I don't know how many days, something like 20 days out before SHOT Show. What's about to happen right before SHOT Show? Typically, we're going to get some news this time of the year. In this case, is this good news? I consider it good news. But, is it good news or is it going to be bad news? So we'll see. Stay tuned for something. Usually there's something that comes this time of year. Not always, but sometimes. Then what else do we have? I guess I'm not really paying attention too much. Or I wasn't able to find the information. I shouldn't say I'm not paying attention. I wasn't able to get the information from my normal source. Stay on this page. Let's see if I can't real quick, while we're chatting, I'm going to open up my email and look for the newsletter that I typically use for my finger on the pulse of the Second Amendment moves of the week. And that would be from the NSSF. And I wonder if they stopped sending that, because I haven't got it since mid-November or mid-December. Let's see if I can... Oh, no. Here it is. All right. So we'll do this one ad hoc. So we got Wayne leaving. We got the... I didn't mention this one yet, but I mentioned it to Gizzard in the other show, that there's going to be a Attorneys General Forum at SHOT Show starting. This is the first time with Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Montana, Ohio, and Utah. Now, is it suspect that all the states with 4 letters are there? Yeah, that makes no sense at all. Is that random? It's possible that it's random, but I'd feel better if somebody from Kansas was there or somebody from Indiana was there. Now, I'm pretty sure Roll Call isn't going to show up because he doesn't go to SHOT Show, but it's possible that Gizzard might. So he said he's curious about it. He may go to this event. It's possible I went over to Gizzard's channel and became channel members. That might influence them to go to this first ever Attorneys General Forum. If he was all drunk on YouTube money, he might just go to that event. Then we're going to talk about this bill tracker here in a second. Let me double check. Am I still good live? I've been paying attention to too many screens over here. Seems like more people are joining us tonight. Welcome. Let's see. We got Brian showing up. Welcome. Gunmetal guy out there. Good evening. Hopefully everything's going well. John Brown. Lucky John Brown. Hand-picked by Snob. Welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. I feel like we need the NRA to be the target for the antis, allowing the other organizations to get the work done. Yeah, I don't know sports very much, but isn't that a thing in football where the big dudes stand there and kind of take it while the others do different things, throw balls or wing them or kick them or whatever they're going to do? Because everybody's got their little specialty, right? Everybody's special. Well, There's a lot of people that stand behind that giant thing and in the shadow, under the shelter of it and go, I don't think it does enough. I don't think it does anything. I don't think it does anything. I don't think it does a thing. I don't think it cares about us. I don't think it thinks about me. I don't feel special enough. But whatever. So I agree with you. That's one aspect for sure. When I talk about him being our battleship, or not our battleship, our aircraft carrier, that's one of the aspects of it. But let's jump over to. Let's see, can I just show it to you? I think I can just show it to you. It's not showing anything crazy. This is the NSSF newsletter that I look at each week that has a pretty good rundown of essentially all the good stuff, all the and all the 2A stuff that affects gun owners. It's actually made for the industry, but I won't tell anybody if you won't tell anybody. First off, NSSF. Look, I like NSSF a lot. I don't love them. They don't pay me a dime. I've been going to SHOT Show since 2005, so I've got this, intimate, long-term relationship with them. Sometimes it's awesome, and other times it's not awesome, right? So here's one of the things that drives me nuts about NSSF. And I guess it's like they're getting paid to do it. They gotta like it, but holy moly. Adjusted NICS background checks for December Q4 annual blah, blah, blah. So they can't get enough of these NICS checks. They love NICS checks. They love charting them. Look, they love having a little chart here, and they talk about how much more NICS checks there were. Yet nothing in here ever even makes me think that they're even aware of, let alone incorporating universal background checks into here. So the National Instant Criminal Background Check, I should say the number of these, has nothing to do with anything if there's a mandated requirement to use them every time you transfer something. So all this is saying to me is that there's more compliance with mandatory reporting. This doesn't tell me conclusively that there's more gun owners, but we use it to say there's a bunch more gun owners. Then we have NSSF's SHOT Show Governors Forum adds Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee. Sarah Huckabee? Is that what's-his-face Huckabee's wife? So, the third annual Governors Forum. Really? That's all? I thought it's longer than that. So I guess they're going to have a Governors Forum at SHOT Show. And this year there's going to be 7 governors at it. And they will be Arkansas, Idaho, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Wyoming. There you go. So then if your state isn't listed there, I don't know, maybe you should think about having your governor go to the SHOT Show with us. NSSF hosting badges and boots, Attorneys General Forum. There's a lot of SHOT Show news in this thing, isn't there? So I already talked about that. U.S. Appeals Court allows California gun ban to take effect. So you see that this whole giant paragraph and this confusing title. I take all that and I make it a bullet point on our show. So I'm essentially normally extracting all this down. So what is this telling us? California Newsom's new restrictive gun is back in place. All right, so they have I can't even remember, 12 or more, 16 anti-gun things started in California on the first of the year because their anti-gun governor and legislative branch just wailed on them this last year. So all this stuff took effect on the first. The worst of them was where you could carry. So they said, oh, you can carry all you want, just not in sensitive places. And then they said essentially the whole state is a sensitive place. So they think they catch 22'd everybody or they loopholed everybody. So the bunch of places said, let's lawsuit them. Let's give them a lawsuit. Let's make it so that they can't put that into place since it's bad law. Well, that lawsuit to challenge the bad law was not sustained. So the challenge, they said, nah, this isn't that bad a law. Let's let it go ahead and go. So that means the law is in effect until another panel of judges from the same circuit decides if a longer hold is necessary. So the law is in effect. So it's a weird situation. I guess everybody digs the fact that you have to be really familiar with this garbage and pay a lot of attention in order to understand it all. And I'm sure certain people really dig that. There's got to be a way to simplify this so that everyone can talk about it and we can move on from the quagmire, which is the complication of this. But that's a challenge we can all work on, maybe. She's a rhino and this is his daughter. Okay, thank you. That makes a little sense. Well, because it's been a while, right? So now we go to Oregon. Let's remember G23. I don't think he's in Oregon anymore, though. I heard he moved, I think. So Oregon's county circuit court judge, somebody ruled unequivocally that the Measure 114 policy, a bad gun policy passed by a slim voter majority, is unconstitutional, and permanently enjoined the law from being enforced. So I believe that means it is gone. He wrote in his opinion, the court is using equitable power, I think, declares and judges ballot measure 114 facially unconstitutional in all of its applications under the Oregon Constitution. So when we say every second matters on the second day of the month, one of the ways that is apt, is that the right way to say it? One of the ways that works is almost every state, all but 9 states have a portion of their Second Amendment that says Second Amendment, essentially, like, leave us alone. So Oregon's constitution, state constitution, is what saved the day here. Very cool. It's super hard to cough when the mute button is working so poorly. And I guess I yawned, so I didn't get the mute on that at all. This makes no sense. This is a meme, isn't it? Like, this is a joke. I don't know why people keep sending this thing around. There's no way this is a real picture that Glock put out. I guess I could go look. Let's go look. Is this really the picture that Glock put out? That's the question. Does anybody know? Is this really the picture that Glock put out? I don't follow Glock. I doubt anybody. Well, I shouldn't say that. Does anybody follow Glock on the Instagrams? I think I have before, but I don't know. Because I can't even remember which one the actual Glock is. Yeah, see, I don't even know. Because there's like 100 fake Glock accounts over there. 100, there's probably 100,000. If I just type Glock into the internet, will it find Glock? It sure does. And if I go to okay, I'll shut up. This is from his thing. I thought that was a meme. I thought somebody put that up. It just says perfection continues for real. It would have been cool to say, yawning, sorry. It would have been cool to say hey to the dude. I don't even know if I was ever in the same room with the guy. I'm trying to think now. I mean, I guess the odds are I've probably been in the same room with him at some point. Oh, everybody knew who was this talking. Okay. Let's see. So, yep. So if you didn't hear, Gadsden had passed away at 94 years old. Let's see. White House demands gun control within hours of Iowa, so we can assume we knew that, right? ATF is decidedly indecisive on implementing Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know how many people have been watching the back and forth drama about this, but is it infighting just to create infighting? Is it legit? Or is it, again, is it just for views and ratings? But I'm not even going to get into it. We'll talk about it on the Instagram show if there's time on Wednesday. But it's annoying because it doesn't go away, and it's frustrating how often it comes around. Because if it comes around at all, it's frustrating. I mean, it's too often, and it doesn't come around every minute, but it does come around too regularly. These situations that are bickering, essentially, like somebody thinks they got a real problem, instead of just going and sleeping on it, waking up and moving on with their lives, they're just stuck on it. And sometimes it's not even. Sometimes they're just acting like they're stuck on it because they have nothing else to do and they need to do something today. Let's see. So now we got Massey introducing a bill to lower handgun age to 18. So that would be the guy from Kentucky. And he's calling it the safer. Hey, boy. Oh, you know what it is? I wasn't drinking coffee. I'm drinking just chocolate milk with a bunch of water in there to make it watered down. Kind of like, well, yeah, I guess that's actually all it is. It's pretty gross. I was going to say it's like watered down coffee, but there's really not that much coffee in there. So anyhow, this one is the Second Amendment for Every Registered Voter Act. So Safer Voter Act. That would reduce the age from 21 to 18 as the minimum age a person can legally obtain a handgun. Oh, okay, good. I didn't notice that before. I've seen this one, but I didn't realize what it is. Very cool. Now, is that nationally or is that in Kentucky? HR, NSSF, that would reduce. Yeah, I think that's nationally. So that's how we win. We don't win by occasionally not losing and then stopping and like licking our wounds and going back to sleep, like the co-host over here. The co-host never wins because all he ever does is go back to sleep. The way you win is by requiring the other side to fight once in a while. The other side never even has to fight. All they have to do is posture, and then we back down and they win. And they feel emboldened by that. So let's make them justify why 18-year-olds can go die for bullshit wars or something, or other bullshit things like training for a war. You don't have to die in a war. You can just be in the military and die in training. That happens freaking every single day. And it's not that it's not going to happen. Dangerous stuff has to get trained for in dangerous ways. So one of the reasons you sign up is so that sometimes you can not make it very far. But that being that what it is, how can they justify that risk needs to be taken, but you don't have the rights that you're fighting for? So make them challenge them to fight that fight and to enunciate why. And to that's how we win. So love it. We need way more stuff like this happening. Hopefully we'll see way more of it. Want more? No, because that wasn't that good. But you can get more by signing up for this newsletter yourself. It's pretty much free. You just got to do it. Everybody's leaving tonight, so thanks Hillbilly for being here, helping get the show started. Have a good one. Hillbilly will have a show tomorrow if you're looking for a live conversation. Pat and bunker took off. I hope it's not because the bunker caved in. Hopefully, or flooded with water, or he got really hot in there and he had too many reserves of popcorn and it all popped, and now he's essentially stuck inside of a giant thing of bunker full of popcorn. Hopefully that didn't happen. Let's see, state news. Maine lawmakers. So first off, F them. F them. F the people who call them that. They're representatives. They happen to have the ability to make laws, but that does not make them this. This implies that they have a job to do, and that job is to create law. And it implies that they have anything to do with it. Their job is to balance and debate. But they have staff that actually writes things. They have pundits, is that the right word? Or like lobbyists who actually write the stuff. And then they have staff that make sure that it's okay. And then they just petition for it. Like, so there's nothing about this word that's accurate. And it implies that their job is to go there and create more law. When in reality, their job is to, what's the word? Like, to monitor and be in charge of our laws. So that means sometimes remove laws. That means sometimes not do anything. Just sit there on your hands and watch the laws and shut up about it. It doesn't mean you got to constantly be making them. They don't get paid by how many laws they make. Bureaucrats like bureaucracy, so they love laws. Calling them lawmakers is one of the worst things. It's like chewing nails on a chalkboard. If we want to be accurate and we want to be useful with our conversation on language, let's not use that one. So it's the middle of the night. I can rant on shit like that. Maine state, they double down on it and they say it twice. So first off, it's a stupid thing to say. It's a lame thing to say. Secondly, come on, you're writing something and you're going to use the same word in the first sentence that you just used in the title. You ever heard of knowing other words than the same word all the time? So Maine state representatives returned for the 2024 legislative session, and gun control is among the topics. Let's see. Among the expected bills are so-called red flag laws, universal background checks, and mandatory waiting periods for firearms purchases. So that all came right away in Maine. It's like the thing that the environment that they create when an atrocity happens, they react exactly how they are conditioned to. This is ridiculous. So, in addition to the crazy long list of laws that have taken effect in California, Washington State had a law take effect on the 1st of January that everyone has to wait 10 days before taking possession of any firearm that they purchased after going through the background check. There may be a mom with a couple of little girls in a serious domestic violence situation, even if she finds an instructor and can afford the class, and even if she can get to one of those classes, they don't exist today. She will have to wait another 10 days after the purchase of the firearm to protect herself. That's a little far-fetched, but so the people that are in favor of these laws don't care about those scenarios. So the scenarios just bother us. They don't bother the other side. But the 10-day waiting period, there's other ways to attack that for sure. Maybe that's could be an interesting conversation. As I build the Minuteman University this year, I figured one of the things we'll do is have these mini conversations or conversations about these different topics as we're kind of getting them set up in the book. But waiting periods, if they were effective, then would we need longer ones? Would we need them at all? Like, we would see if they were so effective, wouldn't we see them on other things? How come there aren't waiting periods on other ideas? If the government has the power to say, oh, you can, but we'll tell you when, then why won't they stop? Why would they stop there? So if they're so good, why aren't we using them on things that would be beneficial? And if they're just a measure, then why are we giving that measure to the government? Illinois or Indiana representatives file several gun-related bills. Let's see. Make gun control an issue. One of them is to bill to enact a state age-based gun ban by raising the minimum age from 18 to 21, and another for universal background checks for private sales, which is what universal background checks are. Another proposal would be to void the state's preemption law and allow municipalities to enact their own patchwork of gun control ordinance that could prove difficult for law-abiding citizens who want to exercise their rights within the state's borders, in compliance. So, yeah, that one blows. I didn't know about that. Virginia Democrats filing bills to limit Second Amendment rights. Virginia Democrats are preparing anti-gun legislation ahead of their session, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. Actually, less than that. They just will talk about the VA CDL, getting ready for that. South Carolina considers ending sales tax on guns and ammunition. Well, that's certainly nice. Tennessee issues free gun locks. Are they really free? Or did someone pay for them and the state is just handing them out free of charge to the person who they're giving them to? Honolulu Police Department has cut off gun sales. It advised citizens intending to buy a firearm or apply for a CCW that they will not process these applications without a currently obtainable training certificate or unattainable training certificate. So I haven't heard about that one, but that's blows. Then we have some lawsuit updates. Smith & Wesson's file motions to require activist investors to post $50,000 bond. So I guess some of the manufacturers are figuring out ways to defend against some of the economic attacks they've been having. So adds Andrew Graham as compliance consultant. So the ATF hired somebody new, and I think I'm done talking about the ATF. So getting back to our show, normally this first section of the show, the news comes from that newsletter, among maybe 2 or 3 other newsletters that I read like that. Most of them come from there. And I just haven't had a chance to go in and distill everything we need out of there. Let's see, Brian is saying NRA fails by not keeping the left on their heels by pushing pro-gun protection, but they don't. Yeah, I'm reading that wrong. Getting a little tired. All right, so let's get into the 2A talk. Patriot posted this speech. I'm going to play a little bit of it so I can drink some coffee here. Maybe, whenever it shows up. Maybe. Patriot in the Dark likes to post these Reagan things. Pretty good one here. Notice who's standing behind him. This is not the video. This is a ad. So now it'll start playing. Eventually.
As a democratic people, we can take pride in the knowledge that we Americans recognized a grave injustice and took action to correct it. And we should remember that in far too many countries, people like Dr. King never have the opportunity to speak out at all. But traces of bigotry still mar America. So each year on Martin Luther King Day, let us not only recall Dr. King, but rededicate ourselves to the commandments he believed in and sought to live every day. Thou shalt love thy God with all thy heart, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. And I just have to believe that all of us, if all of us, young and old, Republicans and Democrats, do all we can to live up to those commandments, then we will see the day when Dr. King's dream comes true. And in his words, all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom reign. Thank you. God bless you, and I will sing.
Almost fell asleep listening to that one. So thanks, Patriot, though, for posting those kind of blasts from the past. Some of the foundational stuff that a lot of us, I think, probably remember from speeches. Remember, we didn't have an internet back then. So you'd hear something like that, and you kind of remembered it because you knew that you didn't have so much short-term memory. You knew you had to remember stuff. So you tended to remember things that were memorable. And every once in a while, there'd be something that they did replay occasionally. So you did have a chance to hear it over and over. And these are the things that we end up reciting today. So that's a good example of Reagan offering, well, what he does, being president. All right. So getting it past that to Suicide Prevention Saturday. They had a New Year's show. Brooke Cheney every week hosts a conversation on Saturday afternoons with a focus on suicide prevention at the intent to normalize mental health conversations. If we can have a conversation about a broken arm or a loose tooth, we should be able to have a conversation about anxiety or other mental situations, since they are essentially different versions of an ailment with our body. So Brooke does a great job of explaining that and other things, and giving us the kind of ability to have useful conversations. That's a project that she does every Saturday afternoon for quite a while now. And it's live, which is pretty fun. Now, I found a new organization that started in 2003, and I'm almost positive I don't have them in my on my radar as a organization in Minuteman. So I'm going to real quick do a search for it over here and see if I did install it, and I don't remember. No, I don't think I did. So I think I found, it looks like I found a new organization that's been around since 2003, Shooting for Women, or the Shooting for Women Alliance, excuse me. And really cool. I don't have the time to do it tonight, but check that out. The links are here. You can check out their website. You can check out their YouTube channel, which isn't very huge, but they obviously have a lot going on. Their podcast recording is pretty elaborate, and they've got a really cool history of the founder of the organization, which I guess is also the history of the organization. I mentioned the Virginia Citizens Defense League. I was getting ready for their lobby day, and they had a lobby day Teams quick Q&A for the people who volunteer to help kind of herd cats or get people moving to places they don't know what's happening. So Virginia Citizens Defense League evidently has people who kind of know the general plan, sends them out there to help make sure that the plans take place. Mock Talk America had a chat earlier today, I believe, or yesterday, depending on what time zone you're in, and about an hour conversation talking to some people from the media, I think. Let's see. And after that, there's this one called Mind Matters, Unveiling the Complex Intersection of Mental Health and Gun Violence. Oh, okay. So that's Chris from 740 had somebody on as a guest on his Thursday show. And I went over and looked at their channel, and that's one of the videos I find. Mind Matters, Unraveling the Complex Intersection of Mental Health and Gun Violence. So it's super cool to see channels that are starting up, I guess, period. But it's neat to see channels that are starting up with a focus on something broader than just, like I always say, the grip angles and the red dot optic plates. So I didn't watch that whole conversation, but I jumped through a few times. And it seemed like it was pretty interesting for sure. Let's see. We have the guide to the bump stocks and Rahimi and the other things, and that's from Alex Uli. is worth checking out for a summary of everything that's been going on lately. You've got All Ghost Guns Are Not the Same. I forget which one this is. If we were on the other platform, this would be a thumbnail or a video link, so I could just tell you right away who it is we're looking at. Did it take me to YouTube? Where are we? Okay, well, that took a long time, and I'm not going to even use it. And did we lose this sign? Let's see. So where were we? If we're still live and it's still working, then we'll get back to the Suppressor Association did their 2023 year in review, and it was all right. There's some, they're about the same way the NSSF is all about the 4473s. The Suppressor Association is all about wait times, worrying about how long the wait times are. It's kind of like watching the stock market or watching the price of tea in China. The number just keeps going up and down. It's not going to stay somewhere and just kind of hang out there, and everybody, who correctly guessed it is going to win or lose. It's like surfing or anything else that fluctuates kind of randomly. There's probably some patterns there, but we'll move on. The Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network did their year in review. So Marty. And they did sort of a live event that had no actual live comments. And then they did something this morning or something that had a bunch of weird comments. So I guess I understand why they do their lives without comments. Then we get into the gun talk out there each week on Sunday. No, this isn't that. This is Sisters in Arms. So, I don't know. Was this on Monday? I think it's Mondays. But Carrie Ann and Renee do the Sisters in Arms show. And this one is talking about personal safety strategies. Pretty good show. The overnight happens on Saturdays. So, if you want to... Well, the mouse party will happen this week, which is essentially a non-structured conversation that's hosted by DM Foss, alternating the other Saturday night. So the other Saturday nights, you have the overnight, which is a topic-less conversation hosted by DM Foss. I always say thanks to the people that host these conversations. They're the ones that keep the communities active and alive. Without the people who do the live conversations and without the people who focus on us, the individuals who are here as part of the audience, what you end up with is strictly people who offer content to be consumed. They look at the analytics, the numbers, and recalculate and continue. So by being as interactive as possible, we can be part of that. All right, I'm definitely slipping. That's what happens when you do the show in the middle of the night. I was bragging about it before, but evidently, if I stay up and don't take a nap during Gizzard's show, I also am super tired for my own show, and I'm not drinking any coffee. I'm just drinking some watery hot chocolate. Nobody's been saying anything, so I think we're going to abbreviate the end of the show here. I was on with Yankee on the Shooting Left to Center. It's a lot of fun chatting with Matt and him. After, I think, about 15 years now. We've been chatting longer than some people who can drive have been around, I think. That's crazy. Rapid Fire Radio's best radio show each week. That happens on Wednesday. And then on Tuesday, you kind of get a sneak peek while they host a segment of the Grace Curley radio show called 2A Tuesday. I would go over to Gun Calendars and show you all the work I did last couple of weeks on that, but I am quickly fading. Falling asleep here. So we'll wrap it up with Every Second Matters. Thanks to Foss and thanks to Kingpin for posting on the regular. There are other people. I know that Artak and Daughters and G23 will often post Every Second Matters things on the various platforms. But it's not a obligation. It's the whole point of Every Second Matters is to create awareness, and you can either do that, watch it happen, participate in it when it happens, instigate it, do the posts or the whatever the actions, or not. You don't even have to participate at all, and that's most of the world is not participating. So I personally value the people that are still doing it. I've seen it over the 13, 15, however many years it's been now that it's been going on. I've seen it kind of go up and down in popularity. There's certainly been whole periods of time that no one participates in it. I'm not trying to, there's not really no money to be made on it. It probably costs me a little bit of money. So, I have no incentive to really bring it up. But whenever people do, we have facilitated some of the merch, like the patches. And then we have some other perks and stuff over the years from just doing projects. So if you do want to grab something for Every Second Matters, feel free to do so at our Gear website store. And if you mention something that you've been listening to the podcast or something, we don't have a coupon code, but there is a place you can leave notes. Always leave notes. Let us know what's up. We have handfuls and handfuls of stuff to give out, so give us some direction. Brian is taking off. Good evening. Have a great night. The military interview shows are pretty epic. This guy who was a F-18 fighter pilot, it's a 2-part episode with Mike. I mentioned last week that Mike Ritland from Mike Drop, super interested in those airplanes. So I'd say his intensity or interest level was maybe half again of what it normally would be. Listening to Combat Story talk to Brent about being in Delta and all the stuff he did as on his way to Delta Force. Great conversation, really interesting. Then Team House just did their year in review here. That ended just before Gizzard's show. I haven't listened to it yet. It was pre-recorded, so I figured there was no point in listening to it live. I would listen to it sometime during the week. We've done a bunch of stuff this week. We were working on the calendars last week. Then we wanted to get the information from the calendars out there. Then this week we jumped right into checking out stuff for SHOT Show. So we've got the Ask Gun Calendars project that we did with Tony last weekend, kind of going through everything in the calendar. Tony helped and a couple of people helped add things to the calendar so it grows all the time. The goal is to not get surprised when different things are happening throughout the year. So I guess I am using the internet here. I can click on this link. But the calendar tries to offer a heads up and the specifics, when and where the events. Oh man, that's running that poorly. Oh my goodness, I messed up. Shouldn't have clicked on it. My internet's running too poorly. But you get the idea. We put that together, and now I'll try to... Oh my goodness. Let's just wrap it up. I'm getting about 3/4 groggy from lack of sleep. The poor puppy down here in the corner. It's not helping anything by being fluffy and warm and also being asleep. So I guess we'll just consider the end of the show here a bit of a wreck. What we do, though, is take a look at what our Second Amendment is all about, and we share that around. So thanks to the Patreons that make it possible for us to do that in such a professional and highly scripted way. We'll go live probably sometime tomorrow to chat with Tony, and maybe Clover will join us again. Maybe not. And we'll chat about... I think we're just going to be answering gun questions. We haven't been doing that for a while, so we'll answer some gun questions tomorrow. And then on Sunday, we're going to have a knife chat. We might have a knife chat on Sunday. I do got some knives to give away that are due to be given away. Is that the way to say it? So with that, I don't know who all might have purchased something over at the Gear website store, but you do still have time to get in on grabbing something over there. We're doing a triple free patch Friday because of Gizzard starting off his episode 9 or his season 9 or whatever it is of his show. Yeah, I can't even keep everything straight anymore. I'm definitely getting tired. I probably should drink a lot more coffee before the show when it's this late. Let's just bring the puppy up here real quick. Give the puppy some wiggles. All right, have a great night.
Captain, a vessel approaching.
On screen.
We're being hailed.
Every weekend over at gearwebsites.com, our online store, we have free Patch Friday. And that means that every order placed on our store on Fridays is going to include at least one free patch. So that's every order with no coupons, no minimum order, no codes needed. You place the order on Friday, and when it arrives to you, it's going to have at least one free patch. Your support means a lot to us, and financial support is critical. So thanks again to the people who keep us online through purchases at gearwebsites.com.